From Salt River Fields at Talking Stick, this is a special edition of Cronkite News.
Welcome to this special edition of Cronkite News, Spring Training 2015. I'm Caitlin Nemec.
And I'm Carrie Osep. Over the course of the next half hour, we will be visiting the 10 spring training facilities here in the Cactus League, and a former one with a new tenant.
Leading off, we'll be checking out the hometown Arizona Diamondbacks. I recently caught up with President and CEO Derek Hall. I started off by asking him about the new leadership team.
Chip Hill, and this is somebody who was ready to be manager, and if it wasn't here, it was going to be somewhere else. Dave Stewart has, his credentials are tremendous. You won't see too many general managers that have been a pitching coach, have been a world champion as a starting pitcher and an ace of his staff, to have been an assistant general manager, now a general manager. So we're really excited about their leadership.
So what does this do in terms of dynamics for the Diamondbacks? Well,
it's good. We wanted to make some changes at the top, and it's always tough too. And with that, I brought in Tony La Russa first as chief baseball officer, created that position, and let Tony really decide. I told him to assess the landscape last year and decide what he wanted to do with our manager, general manager, and he determined that we wanted to make a change. And I'm glad with the direction that we went. We turned the page, and it's really resetting the button right now and getting ready for a new season.
Experience is really important to you in the Diamondbacks. So what's new at Salt River Fields, and then in a couple weeks, Chase Field?
Well, this is the best. It's the greatest time of year in my opinion, and that's what Arizona's all about. This is a mecca for baseball, and spring training is a wonderful tourist attraction. But here at Salt River Fields, we have such a local flavor. We have so many fans that start here and then just migrate over to Chase Field. It's always beautiful here, as you know, and we sell out nearly every game. Chase Field is going to be as beautiful as ever this year. I mean, anytime you go in there, it looks as good as it did the first day it opened in 1998. We've got a lot of new surprises here this year when it comes to food and concessions. A lot of local favorites that are going to be in there that we haven't announced yet, as well as brand new team shops and merchandise concepts that are going to be fantastic.
Forbes just recognized the Diamondbacks as one of the best workplaces in sports. What does that mean to you?
It's great. It's really a tribute to our passionate and talented employees. I mean, they've embraced this culture that we've created. It keeps getting better and better every year. But for us, we need to make sure that we recognize, reward, promote, treat our employees better than any team in sports, really as any organization. So it says a lot, but we've really focused on it for at least 10 years. And it's nice, and we can pat ourselves on the back, but that doesn't make any sense. We got to keep challenging ourselves, keep improving, keep continuously trying to do more.
So this is your 10th season as president. So what lessons have you learned, and where do you go from here?
Well, I've learned that the highs are never too high and the lows are never too low. You look at last year, it was a devastating year for us. We had a lot of injuries. We had a lot of bad luck. We finished in last place. But I realized at that time, don't get too depressed, don't get too down. Just as in 2011 when we won the division, not to get too high. The other thing I've realized is control those things that you can control. When you can't control the outcome and the results on the field, control the way that you treat your fans out there. Control the fan experience, the culture, the community efforts that we are a part of. We're trying to be the best organization we can be, and we always try, as we say, to find a way to win even when we lose.
One of Hall's biggest moves as D-backs president and CEO was bringing the team here in 2010 to Salt River Fields as a partnership with their NL West rival, the Colorado Rockies. Let's go inside the other Valley home of the Arizona Diamondbacks. Salt River Fields is perhaps the jewel of the Cactus League.
This is like the Taj Mahal of spring training.
This facility is amazing, and when you talk to other players and other organizations and you tell them kind of what we have and what the facilities and amenities we have here, they get pretty jealous.
It's the home of two teams, the local Diamondbacks and the Colorado Rockies, as well as two tribes, the Pima and the Maricopa, which together make up the Salt River Pima Maricopa Indian community. It's the only facility built on Native American land. The hometown team has a definite edge.
It's fun having spring training in the town where you play during the season because you've got a lot of fans here. We don't rely on fans to fly in from another city to watch us, and so we play in front of a sellout almost every night or every day during spring.
I come either Tuesday or Wednesday. I don't have to look at a schedule. There's a game every day at 1:10.
There's grass out here in the outfield. We like to come sit out here and watch the game.
Part of the appeal is the kid-friendly activities and the variety of food.
Lots of different types of foods that I know some of them have even been brought back to Denver. I think the strawberries on a stick.
We just had the garlic knots. We love to get the pizza, cheeseburger. Everything's good. Salty senoritas, awesome. Great margaritas, local, gotta love it.
The Peoria Sports Complex first opened its doors in 1994. After celebrating its 20th anniversary in 2013, they started some stadium renovations. The second phase was recently finished. Carrie Crowley shows us what's new in Peoria.
1 year after spending north of $30 million to renovate clubhouses and team facilities, the city of Peoria was at it again this fall, pouring more than $9 million into stadium renovations geared toward improving the fan experience. The city began improving the Peoria Sports Complex in 2013 after reaching a 20-year lease agreement with the San Diego Padres and Seattle Mariners. After taking care of team facilities, growing a fan-centric atmosphere was next on the list.
Upstairs here, we have open space for about 190 people to have a party pre or post game. We have a dedicated bar, concession stand, and buffet area as well. But I think people notice mostly when they come to the stadium, everything's been touched.
Known for its impressive array of craft beers, the Peoria Sports Complex has widened the outfield concourse to support its vendors. And now that fans have room to stretch out, the goal is to keep them comfortable and coming back for more.
Be part of that action. It's really early to tell, but right now I think as people get to see it this year, I think we'll see some really good movement into next year.
The city of Peoria is expecting a surplus of fans this spring to fill out a stadium that now seats more than 12,000 people, and a renovated team store is prepared to take on the challenge.
We're seeing a lot more Padres fans, a lot more Mariners fans with the high expectations of the team, and that will hopefully transition into better sales.
Though some of the new group seating areas weren't sold for the first few games, ticket sales are up 35% this spring compared to a year ago. Next fall, the city will begin Phase 3 of its stadium renovations with the goal of creating an interactive kids zone. In Peoria, I'm Carrie Crowley, Cronkite News. Now we send things over to Tyler Suddarth at Ho-Ho-Cum Stadium.
The 2015 spring training season opened its gates to a new generation of athletics faithful who are now playing at their newly renovated Ho-Ho-Cum Stadium in the heart of Mesa.
First time I came in the stadium, I thought it was gorgeous. It was a completely different change up from how it used to look when it was, the Cubs Stadium.
Ho-Ho-Cum Stadium hosted the Chicago Cubs for 17 years before they moved to their new home, Sloan Park, last year. Now enter the A's, who signed a 20-year contract in 2013 to move their spring operations into Ho-Ho-Cum beginning this year. After signing that contract, the A's embarked on a renovation project that gave the stadium a new identity.
You know who plays here now. I mean, it's green and gold. When you drive up to Ho-Ho-Cum Stadium, it's green and gold. It's either us or the Packers. So take your pick, so obviously it's us.
Pictures of A's stars Ricky Henderson and Mark McGwire now stand where photos of Cubs legends like Ernie Banks and Mark Grace once did. Shaded party decks in left and right field were installed, along with new wider green plastic seats throughout the entire stadium. But the biggest renovation is in left field, where you can't miss the 56-foot wide, high-definition scoreboard. And in the concourse, Ho-Ho-Cum added a taste of home for Oakland fans.
You'll see a lot of branding in terms of Ike's Love and Sandwich Shops, which is a Bay Area favorite. They're all through San Francisco and even into Oakland. And just in terms of a sandwich shop from the Bay Area, that's now at the stadium. Oakland Link. So there's a lot of similarities, a lot of flavor.
With an estimated $26.9 million of renovations to Ho-Ho-Cum Stadium, it's safe to say the A's now have a home away from Oakland.
Now that the A's have moved to Mesa, Phoenix Municipal Stadium has lost its label as the oldest Cactus League stadium in the Valley. But now Phoenix Muni has a chance to reinvent itself by welcoming a new team, a team that already has quite a bit of history at Phoenix Muni. Ben Marjot has more.
Here at Phoenix Municipal Stadium, the Oakland A's are a distant memory. Muni's new tenant, ASU baseball. And luckily for the Sun Devils, it already feels a lot like home.
ASU's come in and branded this all up and made it ours, and this place is awesome. You go in our locker room, it's unreal, first class facilities, it's almost like home because you don't feel like you need to leave, you got everything here.
Maybe it feels like home because it used to be home. The Sun Devils actually played select games at Muni from 1964 to 1974. The games that they did play here were postseason games and games against the University of Arizona. So understandably, those contests had a little bit of extra meaning.
It was pretty electric. We had played with some nice crowds, throughout the year, but never anything as big as this.
I mean, the atmosphere was electric because you had people cheering. You had food being sold. I mean, it was like a regular major league situation.
The Sun Devils had played games at Packard Stadium for 40 years before making the transition back to Muni. Many alumni who had fond memories of Packard were initially reluctant to make the switch.
I heard a couple of those comments on Alumni Day from a couple of the old-timers, but then at the end of the day, when they got a chance to see us play out here and how much they enjoyed being around the facility, they're like, you know what? This is a good thing.
Although these apprehensive alumni might be nervous to leave the tradition behind, the history at Phoenix Muni is long, and it even rivals that of Packard Stadium. In fact, ASU won more national championships in the 10 years it played games at Phoenix Muni than in 40 years at Packard. Now, the Sun Devils didn't play every game at Phoenix Muni back then, so the memories they do have of that park stick out even more.
Hitting 2 inside the park home runs against Colorado State in the regional playoffs. I said it was a big stadium, and I hit a couple line drives to right center and was able to make inside the park home runs.
The games we remember the most is when we were, U of A was number 2 in our division, we were number 1, that was in '69. We shut them out twice one day, 11-0 and 5-0. I pitched the night game. There were 8,000 people almost.
This year, the Sun Devils will honor that history just like they did at Packard Stadium, by winning baseball games.
I think there's new history to be written, and we'll see what happens this year.
The Sun Devils are currently in the midst of 19 straight regular season games at Phoenix Municipal Stadium. For Cronkite News, I'm Ben Marjat.
This season marks 14 years since the Diamondbacks won a World Series over the Yankees in 2001, and now the team is trying to get back to those winning ways. I recently spoke with Chief Baseball Officer Tony La Russa to see what Dave Stewart and Chip Hale are bringing to the team.
They've come together really well. Chip has been preparing for this manager role for years. I mean, he is so qualified, he's got great experience, he's really taken charge this spring. Dave Stewart, we were teammates at one time. I saw his dedication and competitiveness, and when he quit pitching, you know, he stayed in baseball for a long time in the front office, and then he became an agent, so he's got a great background.
And so going off of that, I just want to know, with Dave, you guys do have history, so what did you see in him that he would bring to the D-backs?
Well, you know, you start with one reality, the most simple of all, and that is, you know, our profession is about 2 teams playing a game with a score. And that's what it is. It's a competition. Everything else that comes around is important, but it's all about us against them and try to get the score in your favor. And Dave never forgot that it was a competition. When he was pitching, he was very competitive. When he wasn't pitching, he was a very supportive teammate. So, and he had a love of the game, obviously, because when he quit, he stayed with the game, did a lot of work in front offices in San Diego and Toronto, and then he stayed in on the business side. So when you have that kind of background, it was an easy call.
And for Chip Hale, we all know he brings a lot of energy to the team, but what else do you think that he's bringing to the D-backs this season?
I think from the day he probably started playing in Tucson and going to the University of Arizona and signing with the Twins, who are very instruction, competitive oriented, every bit of his resume is leading him to this opportunity. He's been a really important coach in our system before. He's managed here, so he knows the Diamondbacks. He's had 3 outstanding winning years with the A's as a bench coach. So, you know, it's just like you go to school, and you go to elementary school, junior high school, and high school, and you go to college, and then when you graduate, you're ready. He's definitely a graduate student, and he's had a very impressive spring so far.
And what are some of your expectations for this young team?
Well, we have a nice mix. We have some veterans that understand how to play and are being good leaders, but mostly what we really freshened up the roster. A lot of talent, a lot of active athleticism, and it's been proven if we really do a good job of laying out the basics and you repeat, and they get that down, they can be better much sooner than later. I mean, that's what we expect. We think we're going to be really tough to play against this year.
Tony La Russa won his first World Series title in 1989 with the Oakland A's. Their Bay Area neighbors, the San Francisco Giants, are the reigning champs. They are also one of the 5 spring training teams to have a stadium all to themselves. Scottsdale Stadium, the spring training home of the World Series champion San Francisco Giants, is one of the most popular venues in the Cactus League. Although the fans and players may have left their heart in San Francisco, they still have love for the stadium here in Scottsdale.
The location is pretty good. They're right here in Old Town Scottsdale.
nice area, so this fits in pretty nice.
The surrounding community is just fantastic.
There's a lot of people walking around. Everybody seems to be in pretty good mood.
It's a fun atmosphere.
Scottsdale brings more than just good vibes to the table.
The food here is amazing. There's a lot of good places to eat.
What Old Town offers around the stadium may be the reason so many people flock to Scottsdale to catch a game.
There's got to be something because it's pretty packed when we're playing games here.
Our fan base, since I've been here, even before we won, was pretty strong. During spring training, that's a pretty cool feeling to come out here and actually have a huge backing from the fans.
You see a bigger stadium with more people, and obviously as a player it pumps you up.
The players love the support they bring to Arizona. So what makes people so excited that they take a trip to see their team?
Because they are the favorite team, and then they have the World Series champions, and they have some great players right now.
My wife would say that I'm kind of nuts for having to travel so far, but I think in terms of just relating to the players in a deeper way that you really don't during the regular season, I think that's what makes spring training so special.
At the end of the day, there's really only one thing that makes it special for the players.
Get to get out here and play some baseball.
Now that's it for me here at Scottsdale Stadium. Let's go over to Kevin Longley, who's at Sloan Park spring training, home for the Chicago Cubs.
The fans, when they walk in the gates, they know they're coming to a Cubs game.
There's only one Wrigley Field. But Sloan Park, the spring training home of the Chicago Cubs since 2014, has brought a taste of the Windy City to Mesa.
So if you pan around the facility, things that fans will know as the iconic brick behind home plate. That's the exact same pattern and brick design that is in Wrigley Field. A lot of the steel work, if you look at the second level, has the arched steel.
When you stand out in the outfield and you look in towards the infield, you blink your eyes and not know where you're at. You think you're looking at Wrigley Field.
From Giordano's stuffed pizza to art with a classic Cubs feel, the Sloan Park game day experience is uniquely Chicago. Even the park's new title sponsor, Sloan Valves, has ties to the Cubs' past, serving as Wrigley Field's plumbing company since 1914.
The Sloan Valve Company is from Franklin Park, Illinois. They're a family-owned company and someone that the Cubs have had a relationship with for many years, and this was a natural extension of that partnership.
But the most important partnership for the franchise is between the team and its fans, and so far, fans are enjoying the Sloan experience.
We love the inside of the park, the smallness of it, and it has just a good feel about it, a friendly confines feel. It's just conducive to a great spring training atmosphere.
After breaking the Cactus League attendance record last year in their first year at Sloan, the Cubs are hoping to break their own record again this year. In Mesa, I'm Kevin Longley. Now we go to Maryvale Stadium with Steve Dent.
Sausages, smoking on the grill. Sausages, prepping for a season of racing. Maryvale, the spring training home of the Brewers, which brings the Clement Sausage Race from Milwaukee to the Cactus League.
It's comical to watch. It's fun. You gotta cheer on your favorite sausage.
Sure, the sausages are a big hit. You know, we have the brat, the hot dog, the Italian, the Polish, and the chorizo.
Everybody has their favorite sausage, from the fans to the players.
My favorite is chorizo. That's the one I eat the most.
Well, you know, up where I live, there's a lot of Polish people. I kind of like the Polish.
Brats are the best. Especially jumbo brats.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the Italian. You know, I like eating Italian sausages.
Bratwurst. Polish. I like Polish. Polish.
Where's the love for the all-American hot dog? Now, the hot dog came on board in the mid-90s. Chorizo became a full-time racer in 2007, but all-time, it belongs to the Italian sausage with 25 career wins. Just like in Milwaukee, the Clement Sausage Race takes place before the home half of the 6th inning, and fans love it. After their races, the sausages take time to sign autographs for their fans.
It's a big thing. Everybody grabs their cameras, and it's a big thing.
That's it from Maryvale Stadium in Phoenix. Now let's go over to Becca Wynn at Tempe Diablo Stadium.
Nestled in the Tempe Buttes along the I-10, Tempe Diablo Stadium offers more to the Tempe community than just its scenic views. Its name comes from the Diablos, a nonprofit organization that works with the city to help operate the stadium. The Diablos then used the money made from spring training to benefit youth organizations in the Tempe area.
The idea really just came from, trying to figure out ways to raise funds. There's a bunch of about 20 guys that started the club in 1968 and found out about this opportunity with Tempe, with the city of Tempe, because of the strong connection these guys had with the city. And they chose us as the volunteer organization to help run, and we still today provide all of the ushers and ticket takers and parkers and all that in order to facilitate everything that needs to be done management-wise here at the stadium.
The Tempe Diablos and the stadium have one of the richest histories in the Cactus League. Tempe Diablo is the second oldest stadium used for spring training in the Phoenix area.
1968, the Seattle, which was then the Pilots, became a team, and they lured them over to Tempe to do spring training here. They were here until early 70s, and then they actually moved to Milwaukee. They became the Brewers, and then in 77 the Mariners came, and they were here till the late 80s, like 90, 89, 90, and the Angels started here in 93.
While Diablos and Angels usually don't go hand in hand together, nothing short of the opposite is true here, where the Anaheim Angels and the Tempe Diablos have worked together since 1993 when the team started spring training here. The Tempe Diablos now raise over $1 million a year to help the Tempe community and the people who live in it. In Tempe, for Cronkite News, I'm Rebecca Wynn.
Just like out here at Salt River Fields, 4 other Cactus League stadiums, including the Peoria Sports Complex, play host to 2 clubs. Cronkite News reporter Ryan Bafalukis takes us to Camelback Ranch, the spring training home of the Chicago White Sox and Los Angeles Dodgers.
Despite the short amount of time in the ballpark, Camelback Ranch Glendale already feels like home for not only the White Sox and Dodgers, but their fans as well.
Oh, this is heaven on earth.
AJ Perez moved to the Valley for the sole purpose of attending spring training games. The lifelong Dodger fan has made lifelong friends while watching his team train in Glendale.
This stadium here is friendly. It's open. You get to be with the players. You get to hear the players. The ballpark itself, you have the park atmosphere. You got trailways. You got players amongst you.
Opening its doors in 2009, Camelback Ranch sits on 141 acres in Glendale. With a capacity of over 13,000, it is the largest Cactus League facility in the valley. Stadium seating is raised 12 feet above ground for unobstructed views. Outside of the park, a 5-acre lake system is stocked with fish and other wildlife and is lined with a Walk of Fame, all of which is meant to provide the fans with a memorable trip to the ballpark.
You can come out here and really have an experience. I'm originally from New York City, and I would liken walking around this facility to really being inside Central Park. It's very tough to tell if you're at a Major League Baseball facility, aside from all the team branding that's here, or if you're in a city park. So we wanted this to be a full experience that was not just come out to the facility and watch the teams train.
The complex is equipped with 12 practice fields, most of which are just steps away from the stadium entrance, giving fans an intimate look at batting practice prior to games. Reporting in Glendale, I'm Ryan Bafalukis, Cronkite News. Now let's throw it over to Jared Cooper in Surprise.
The action on the field is not the only thing that attracts fans to Surprise Stadium, the spring training home of the Texas Rangers and the Kansas City Royals since 2003.
We get a lot of our fan base from Kansas City and Texas, so when they're here, we want to make it feel like they're home.
While people come for the game, Surprise Stadium offers fans of all ages a unique baseball experience.
Bringing your glove to the ballpark? Similar to Globe Life Park at Arlington, home of the Rangers, fans can rush towards the center field grass in hopes of snagging a home run ball.
And to have a baseball hit out towards your direction, you don't expect it to happen, but when it does, you just have to be ready. I just think that adds to the overall intimate experience of spring training.
That intimate experience is a big focus of Surprise Stadium, giving fans a great opportunity to meet their favorite players.
The difference between Surprise Stadium alongside the Cactus League facilities would be the proximity as to how close the fans can get to the players, either on the field or at the practice facilities.
The players are awesome. We get to see the new guys that are coming up through the system, and can't complain. I just love it.
When walking on the concourse, fans can watch players take swings in the batting cages located just a few steps from their seats.
The fans, I mean, right next to the batting cage, they're right next to us in the field. So that's just part of the business, and it's cool. I mean, I enjoy it. I even talk to a lot of the fans while I'm there.
It's kind of what spring training is about, you know, to be able to interact with the fans a little more and kind of have a little more of a personal experience with them.
That's all from Surprise Stadium. For Cronkite News, I'm Jared Cooper. Now let's send it over to Kristen Kirby for a look at Goodyear Ballpark.
Goodyear Ballpark enters the spring season with a little bit of bragging rights. The home to the Cleveland Indians and Cincinnati Reds was voted the top place to catch a game in Arizona, according to USA Today's 10 Best Readers' Choice poll. And as I saw firsthand, this place brings people from everywhere who get a little taste of Ohio.
This is pretty good.
Yes, even fans rooting against the Indians find themselves drawn to the Cleveland dog, complete with bacon, shredded cheese, diced onions, and chipotle sauce.
We have a hometown feel, especially with the concessions. The Cleveland fans, as you may have heard, love their Bertman's Ballpark mustard.
The mustard, a bestseller at the souvenir stand, has been a staple in Cleveland since the 1920s.
You acquire a taste, you kind of, you have to have that. So every once in a while you have to have some ballpark mustard on your hot dog.
For anyone craving a dose of Cincinnati, the Cincinnati dog comes with chili, shredded cheese, and diced onions. And while fans feel right at home with some of Ohio's favorite food items, they say there are other reasons Goodyear is a preferred destination.
The weather, number one. The fact that I'm around baseball, which I love, and I've been an Indians fan all my life.
For those trying to dodge an Ohio winter, the souvenir shop conveniently has sunscreen to help fans adjust to the 40-degree increase. In other words, perfect baseball weather. Reporting in Goodyear, I'm Kristen Kirby, Cronkite News.
That's it for us here at Salt River Fields and around the Valley of the Sun. For Cronkite News, I'm Carrie Osep.
And I'm Caitlin Nemick. Thanks for joining us.